What I love really about these episodes is I think the impromptu of this. I mean, I don't really record these in weeks advance. This is pretty much me getting up in the morning on a Monday and thinking about what do I have to say today. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Arts to Hearts podcast. And this is your host, Charka Arora. I am the founder of Arts to Hearts Project, an artist, designer, and a creative entrepreneur, and the host of Arts to Hearts podcast. Before we dig into this episode, I quickly want to remind you that we are so excited to be sharing our last international call for women artists in collaboration with my beautiful friend Victoria Fry and Visionary Art Collective. If you know and if you're a regular listener of this podcast, you know who Victoria is. I am so excited to be doing an year-end collaboration with Visionary Art Collective. I've always admired the work Victoria does. She's really done a lot. So the theme for this open call is actually home. It's quite interesting because I felt like I wanted to close the year with something that just concised it all, just completed it all, and home felt so perfect. The deadline to submit is 13th of December 2021, 12 midnight EST. Yes, 13th of December 2021, 12 midnight EST. The selected participants will, be a part of the online exhibit. Victoria will be doing them for the Visionary Art Collective website. We'll be covering on our Instagram accounts. We'll be doing the video as always. There's so much that we always try to incorporate so that we can give artists as maximum visibility and connections and coverage as possible. So if you're interested, you can click on the link here below on this podcast that you're listening, or you can also go to www.arts2heartsproject.com/submit. Okay, I hope to see your submission and you soon, but let's get back into the episode today. Okay, I have been wanting, actually, originally, what I thought this episode would be like, I wanted to share one of my journal pages, which I wrote a few weeks ago, and ever since then, I felt like I really wanted to share this. It was something that really helped me feel so better, and I felt like it would really help more people out there. But unfortunately, I don't have my journal with me today. I'm back in the studio and I forgot. So I thought, why not talk about something else? And which came to my mind was what's been happening with me right now. So if you know, I don't know how many times I've already spoken about everything that's been going on in my life and everything that's been happening. But today I have a flip side to share. So, you know how I was struggling with creative blocks and like a lot of mental, you know, just space actually. I had a habit of living alone. I used to spend a lot of time by myself, and I still want to do that. I don't know if I've really shared this, but I'm really excited to be going back to Delhi and after this month, start the new year with a fresh slate. I am. It's been a long time of this change, and a lot has happened. But I know I need to move on, and I'm excited. I'm excited for Arts to Hearts. I have a few really amazing projects that will begin with 2022 and my own art practice. Okay, so back to where I was. I get sidelined. So, yeah, like I was struggling with the studio, and suddenly, I mean, I just did not know what to do. I'd been just keeping at it. Um, I was really working hard with Arts to Hearts at that point because I was really struggling in the studio. And that's something I really learned in my own experience, something that I know works or happens for me when I am into Arts to Hearts too much. I'm so focused that it's hard for me to, be be back in the studio in the mindset that I feel more fulfilled with, versus when I am very, very focused with my own practice. I have like I am working on a series or an idea or something. I know that things somewhere else take a little backseat. And honestly, it felt very hard for me in the beginning because, I have the perfection bug and I want to do everything all the time perfectly. But honestly, I have learned this year that I have to keep, I have to let go. I can keep working hard, I can keep pushing myself, but if I really can't control the way things happen, and for some reason, if I can't step into two boats at some point of, I mean, of course, um, but I can, take one boat ahead at one point, then go back and bring another one. And, I think that's how just things move forward now for me. Okay. So ever since the fall has started, I felt this shift in my own mood. I felt like I was getting more like free in the sense in the studio. I was having more ideas. My self reflection was getting better. And I observed that a lot of things that contributed to this factor that I wanted to share in this episode. The first thing is that I think the hardest part. The hardest part was to keep at it. I think the first phase when you feel that you are in a dry zone is to just understand that you are in a dry zone. I was, while like a few months back when I was in the studio, I would come every day, I would push so hard. I didn't actually stop making at all. I mean, I alternatively kept making at in some way or the other. If I wasn't ready for a canvas, I would make on paper. If paper was too overwhelming, I would do my mini sketchbook. If not, just anything. It was so hard. Believe me, I don't know. I mean, to feel that disappointment every day was so hard. I mean, I felt like I was all over the place. I did not know what I wanted to say anymore. I did not know what I was doing. The only fear was that what if I lose everything? What if I don't have it anymore? And that really was very hard. I mean, it was such a hard time for me because honestly, with the loss that I've had this year, a lot of times my first instinct has become, what if I lose this too? What if this will also go? What if, and I'm still trying to work on that, but I think it'll take a little bit of time to understand and, heal myself that things can get better. So, yeah, the first phase is when you push too hard and nothing seems to be working. I was pushing so hard. I would come to the studio, and I thought, when I remember sharing this, that my old studio was just, it had it just had no energy. I really needed to get out of there, and I thought maybe moving to the next studio, a new space, a new vibe, everything would make things better. On one end, I do feel it made things a little bit better. Honestly, for me, um, I just love that process of setting things up, creating something from scratch. So I was very excited to set up the whole studio space, and I was creating in that form, but the guilt of not making the work. So yeah, I had that guilt for a long time, but then I had to let it go. Then, of course, the studio helped a bit. It was a good change of environment, the work. But even then, I did not know what was happening. I was pushing, but I knew where I thought I wanted to be. I knew where I wanted to be. Actually, I had my vision, but I did not know exactly what it looked like, what I really wanted to materialize it into. And then, it was really hard. This I feel is one of the hardest period when you are stuck in a rut, is to keep trying, to keep trying, to keep trying. Thankfully, I did not give up because I was too afraid to give up. My fear of giving up is way more than my fear of losing. So I did not give up. The second stage was when I realized that yes, I'm stuck in a rut. I have like literally tried my best. And instead of pushing myself to, go where I want to be, why not just give myself some grace and space and time to just, relax? That's what I did. I feel like this was the second phase where I felt a little bit of shift. I acknowledge the fact that I'm trying too hard, but nothing seems to be working. I acknowledge the fact that this could be a phase. This is a phase. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of difference. And I knew that things didn't that worked for me before were not working anymore. And this is something that I know about myself, that I am someone who loves routine because it gives a structure to my day and all of those things. But I'm also someone who hates monotonous things. Let me explain you. So what really works for me is I want to do something for a set, let's say if I have a routine, I would do it for a set number of days. Like let's say if I love working out, I wake up early in the morning, I love working out, and I would do that for months, and then I get bored and I things get too monotonous. When they get too predictable for me, I need a challenge for myself. So I would not change my routine, but I would shake my workout. I would change the way I work out, or maybe instead of doing training, I would do yoga. Instead of doing yoga, I would do something else. That just brings me back to the ground, because it breaks my pattern of predictability, and it just gives me a fresh perspective. Like I need to work hard again, and like it just builds that up for me. So that's what I did. I was like, okay, I need to break things up. Things are not working. I have tried too hard, and maybe if I push myself too much now, I may break. And I took some rest. I thought about things that I wanted to do further. I just tried to read more. I was reading a lot of self-help books and podcasts and all of those things. And I I felt that nothing had changed, but I think now when I look in retrospect, it was the beginning of some kind of change. The next thing that I knew, I wanted to, like, I needed inspiration. I needed to see things from a fresh perspective, and I needed to change my patterns. So what I did was, usually I wouldn't, like, I'm for the past 2 years we're all stuck in our homes. Our experiences are very limited and all of those things. So one, I mean, in my recent trip to Delhi, I I just stumbled upon a bookstore. I went into it and I found some really fabulous books. Really fabulous books. So I also share them on my Instagram. If you are not connected, I am available on Instagram as Charuka Arora, and I'd love to see you there. But so I went into the in that bookstore, and I found a few books. And the first thing, what I noticed was how I was picking those books, what was interesting me, the questions within me. The biggest point was it became an outlet for me to recognize the kind of questions I was asking, and they were materializing in forms of the books that I was searching. And that really helped me. The third phase was when the environmental things became more amicable for me, and I figured what is like a good trigger point for me, in the sense that a positive point. I love fall. I love waking up in mornings of the fall. I love sitting by myself on my desk, lighting a candle, reading a book. I recently bought a typewriter, a shocking pink typewriter that I'm absolutely loving spending more time with. And like ever since the fall arrived, I would wake up in the morning, I would come in the studio, and I would light a candle. And I generally use like vanilla scented candles, and like I just love the vibe of, lighting candles, having candles on my desk. And I figured like how that was setting me into a creative zone that I actually had really missed seeing before. And it was such a fresh take. I felt like I first my detachment towards from the process. I was more focused towards reading. I was more to focus towards learning more about questions that I had. I did not really question why am I reading this? Why do I want this? I was like, if I'm interested in this, why not? And then having a create like setting that mood. Oh my god, that is so important for me. I know now. I the way I work, I to start into it. I mean, to get into it, I need to get into a mood. Especially when it's very hard. When I'm of course inspired, I'm on the flow and everything, I don't need anything. But when it's hard for me, I figured that if I'm able to set a mood for myself, lighting the candle, if it's little winter, and if I'm in a in a dark room where I can just be myself and have my thoughts by myself, that's a great beginning point for me. From there, I can get into the process and not care about more things, but that's how just it is. I really wanted to share these thoughts because, again, if you are also anywhere where I was, I feel so much better. I felt like I was in this dark alley. I was, navigating. I was taking a left, I was taking a right, I was going here, I was climbing, and I just could not find light. It was so hard. I felt like the night was not ending, and I was afraid that it would never end. There would never be a sunlight. But thankfully, from the other side today, I can tell you that there definitely is. You just maybe need to strategize a little differently. You need to sit back and first think where you want to be. Start manifesting, like I visualizing, something that I also did a lot in this process was because I was so deprived of this whole creative zone. I started imagining how I would be making my work, how my work would look like, how I would shoot my work, photograph it, present it, whatever triggers you, whatever interests you. And that's such a good beginning point to understand where and what you want. Spending time with yourself and asking your questions in different mediums. I mean, in sense of books, in sense of movies, and sometimes just not looking for it. So many things I found that helped me to be here is when I wasn't looking, was I knew nothing about, and like suddenly I realized, oh my god, this is something that oh, this is an answer I was looking for. Oh, this is something that I really needed to know, and that's been um, such a learning. What I really want to say is that if you're anywhere there, believe me when I'm saying this, believe me, I was in such a hard phase that it gets better. It will get better. You just need to know how you can bring yourself in your mood. You need to be good to your like graceful for yourself, kind to yourself, and detach yourself from the pressure of making something, the pressure of good, the pressure of bad. Just visualize what you want and believe in yourself, and step back at sometimes, disconnect, and then come back from a fresh perspective. Sometimes it's very hard for us to disconnect from the mental pressures that we build for ourselves. So I think disconnecting is quite important. And again, one of the most hard things, but very important, is to keep at it. Don't give up on yourself. I think that's very important. I feel like in the past few months, I had so many chances to give up on myself. So many. I had I had a traumatic experience of my life. Things were not easy at all. They are not easy even today. Believe me, I am so anxious about things that I need to do next month, the whole move, and like going back to another life that I left 2 years ago, and starting from, yeah, building it from scratch again, and being this new person that I feel today, all of those things. And sometimes taking that leap is very difficult, but what really helps is what will come after that. And that's how I take most of my leaps. I mean, everything. I visualize what I will get if I get through this. If I get through the hard part, what am I going to get? How is that? Do I want it that bad? Do I want to live it? If I do, then I need to get through the hard part. And it really helps me. It really helps me. Okay, I hope this episode helped you. I had a great ramble and I hope it connects with you. If it's nothing, I just want to share. I feel grateful to be able to share what's with happening with me in my life, in my world, in my mind with you here. And I really appreciate you always being a good listener. And if you're listening to this episode, please let me know what you think. I always love listening back from you. I would love to know who you are. Tag me in your stories, share this episode. Always, if you want, you can reach out to me. You can also submit a voice note on www.arts2heartspodcast.com. And I just want to say a big thank you, and I can't wait to see you soon again. Sending you a big hug. Bye.